Chris Eubank Jr. destroys Conor Benn and Piers Morgan. Make sure to stick around because I'm going to unfold the key moments from the Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn interview with Piers Morgan from a boxer's point of view. If you're new to the channel, my name's Lawrence Oswecki, a professional boxer and also a former member of GB amateur boxing team and also a national champion, boxing all over the world at various tournaments. This fight's going to be electric because every time the pair meet, it's pure entertainment and drama, and that's before the fight's even happened. The interview starts with Piers Morgan talking about the brutality of the sport, and he mentions Nigel Benn's fight with Gerald McLennan, where he was left in a wheelchair, and also Chris Eubank Sr., his fight with Michael Watson, who was left with a serious brain injury. Then Piers asks Chris, does the hatred he has for Conor play on his mind?
I hate what he did. I've just got to make sure that we set an example here. People have died. They have to be punished. They have to be embarrassed.
He done that with the egg slap.
And that's what I've been doing.
I totally get what Chris is saying because as a fighter myself, I think the casual fans forget how dangerous the sport is. And yes, it's a choice, my choice and other fighters, but they're risking their lives every time they get in the ring for the fans' entertainment. So when Chris says he wants to make an example of him, embarrass him, I totally agree. Because when someone fails a drug test, talking about Conor for taking a sports enhancement drug, getting advantage, it's a serious crime. Because it could end with someone getting seriously hurt or even worse, getting killed. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe because it really helps the channel grow. And also hit the bell notification button so you don't miss a video.
If he was a convicted cheat, he wouldn't be able to fight you. So do you accept that for the purposes of your fight, that he's not a convicted cheat?
Piers says the reality is he's been clear to fight, but Chris isn't having any of it, and I totally agree.
Whether he's been convicted or not is irrelevant. The fact is, substances were found in his system.
To give people an insight, to get your boxing licence, you've got to do an anti-drug doping seminar to teach you how to be a clean athlete. It puts the ownership on you and gives you the tools to stay clean so you don't fail a test. And most importantly, keep the sport safe. So therefore, really, there's no excuses.
Do you accept that these substances were found in your body?
There's nothing to accept.
It's not a good look.
It's the fact.
No?
No.
The fact he can't accept it, admit it, how can you really believe anything he says? He'd be much better off holding his hands up and saying, I made a mistake somewhere, I accept it. I think if he'd done that, then maybe people could move on and he would definitely get more respect.
As a fighter, it is your job to know everything you are eating, drinking, putting into your system.
Like I said, to get your boxing licence, you're taught these things. It's your responsibility. It's as simple as that.
Said to me before, you believe it may have come from contaminated eggs.
The case is done. I'm not here to talk about the case at all.
When you're innocent, you put your hands up and you say you made a mistake. But when you're guilty, you get angry and you don't want to talk about it. It's all there.
He's the real hype. I come up the hard way. I didn't prove myself, boy. You had your time. Let's have some parliamentary procedure here, all right?
The famous line. I love Chris Eubank Sr. He's so funny and entertaining. I could sit and watch him all day. And as the saying goes, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree because Chris Eubank Jr. is so much like him.
I personally do hate him. I personally do hate him.
So is there any point in me asking you to shake hands after signing the contract?
No.
And Conor's so much like his dad, it's crazy, so angry.
They have a very good relationship, Conor and his dad. You do not currently have a relationship at all, as far as I'm aware, with your father.
Piers keeps poking Chris, trying to find out what was the breakdown in the relationship with his father. And Chris handles it well. You know, he's very calm. And like a cool criminal, he flips it.
Have upheld the family name. The worst thing Conor's done is put question marks.
Well, let's come to that.
I'm sick of Piers keep talking over Chris. Every time he tries to finish what he's saying, he's definitely on Conor's side.
I'm going
to come to...
Let me talk.
Okay.
He's put question marks against the Benn name.
Game, set, match. That's what you call mic drop, as Conor tried to say in the last press conference. Chris is saying that Conor's dragged his family's name through the mud.
Did his father cheat?
I've shown more integrity and resilience.
Chris has got
That's the
Conor like
question that now arises.
You have done your whole career.
That's now the question that
Then
arises.
you have...
He's now accusing Nigel of cheating in his career. He's got Conor raging. He's got him right where he wants him.
Okay, but before we get to questions like that, on the relationship with your dad, What was the catalyst for you getting fractured as a father and son?
As soon as Chris gets the upper hand, Piers throws something emotional at him, like he's trying to get one back for Conor. I feel like Piers Morgan has got some sort of personal relationship with Nigel Benn and Conor. Chris is literally being tag teamed between Conor and Piers. Chris basically said the relationship broke down because he wanted to follow his own path. In his dad's personality, character is so big, he needed to step out of his shadows and do things his way. And in fairness, Chris did say that Conor's in the same boat, but the difference is that Nigel let Conor find his own path and do things his way, whereas Chris Sr., on the other hand, is obviously more controlling and wants things done his way. And on top of all of this, devastation hits the family. And Chris Sr. loses a son, and Chris Jr. loses a brother, Sebastian Eubank. Chris says of course he wants his dad there. I think it's pretty obvious. Deep down he will be hurting, but talking about it, it'll be like opening a tin of worms. And until the fight's done, he's not going to let anything affect him. He's not going to let emotions get in the way. And all fighters will say the same. I've been there myself many times. You can't let life's problems get in the way. You've got to stay focused on the task at hand. Everybody has problems in sob stories, but the successful people, the winners, know how to stay on track and don't let anything get in the way. You've got to respect the way Chris is dealing with all of this, the strength he's shown, especially the fact he's got Piers and Conor having a tag team match against him. I mean, he's shown a level of maturity worlds apart from Conor. Piers talks about the brutality of the sport and the dangers because both Chris Sr. and Nigel Benn both left one of the opponents with fatal injuries. And he asks if both guys fear this happening.
You know, ultimately we prepare extremely hard. We're elite athletes, we do the best we can, but the end goal is to never ruin someone's life.
And it's so true. All fighters understand the danger, but like anything that's exciting and gives you that adrenaline has a level of risk. And unfortunately, quite often, the things that have the biggest risks have the biggest rewards. It's just the way it goes.
Do you feel the same way, Chris?
Search and destroy, you know.
This is where Chris shows his experience in mental warfare because he's not allowing or showing any level of weakness.
I've been in fights where I have hospitalized people. Nick Blackwell, now he doesn't walk.
Nick Blackwell, I remember him when I was on GB and he used to come to spar Carl Froch. He was a great fighter. In one punch, changed everything.
It makes it real and it turned me cold. And it could happen again. It could happen to me.
In the fact that Conor failed a drugs test when he was going to fight him, you can totally understand the anger a sports enhancement drug could have ended in Chris being fatally injured. Piers says to Conor, what about the size advantage Chris has? And Conor says, he's just a man. I don't care. I'm not scared of any man. And Chris says, I don't believe you.
You've just been flattened by a light middleweight. You think I'm in the slightest concerned? I will absolutely iron you out.
I do love the energy that Conor brings, the emotion, the drama, the youthfulness, and you know what you're going to get, and that's all action.
I don't believe
What do you believe
I
in?
think you're going to run for your life.
Oh, shut up, talk shit.
I think you're going to run around that way.
You talk rubbish. You're delusional.
That's what I think.
You're delusional.
You can see that Chris is playing him like a fiddle, but Conor can't say it because he's too emotional and he hasn't got that level of maturity.
Corner can't save you, and no free knockdown rule.
And
That's
guess
all
what?
I've asked for. Guess what?
I know. That's all you've asked for, and guess what? You're not even getting that.
Conor says, well, why did you want a bigger ring? And Chris knows exactly what to say. He says, because I know you wanted it, so I wasn't going to give you it.
I mean, at the first press conference, you pulled the stunt with the egg. I mean, on reflection, are you pleased you did that?
On reflection, I wish I had an egg in both hands.
The egg situation, the egg slap, I think Chris played a blinder because the people that weren't interested in the fight before are interested now. I think it was a great move. And if you're dealing with someone that's overly emotional and you want to rattle them, wind them up, what do? You slap them with an egg. I think it's comedy gold.
Conor said about you that you've underachieved in your career.
Oh, massively.
And you're still not out of your dad's shadow. And you were knocked out by Liam Smith.
There's Piers again, tag teaming Chris. I'm starting to get pissed off, actually. It's meant to be a fair interview, but it's definitely one-sided.
To be knocked out by someone like Liam Smith, since you were supposed to get in the ring together, does
at
that
Conor.
give you
He's loving
concern
it.
when you get in the ring with him?
Just look at Piers's face. Is that a man that's sitting on the fence or a man that's on Conor's side?
If you put yourself in these environments enough times, eventually you're going to get caught.
And when he says you're an underachiever, what do you feel about that?
I do personally think that Chris has underachieved, but at the same time, what has Conor done? He's yet to prove himself in the sport of boxing.
You know, I have paid my dues, I've dedicated my life, and I never cut any corners doing it.
And he's referring to Conor failing a drugs test, and that's all he needs to say every time, and he's won.
And so I sleep well at night. This kid does not.
Knowing that in just under 8 weeks, I am going to render you unconscious.
And that's all Conor can say. He hasn't really got any comeback. Piers mentioned Nigel putting his hands on Chris and Chris threatening him, and it went off. And Chris knows that's Conor's weakness. Mention Conor's dad and he turns into a devil. For Chris, it's easy money. Conor's fuming and wants to take it outside on the cobbles. And Chris says, anytime, kid, anytime. He's got him right where he wants him. At this point, Chris is playing with him.
I've shaken the hands of pretty much every man I've ever fought. But if you cheat, that respect, it goes out the window, I'm sorry.
Game, set, match. Piers tries to get them to shake hands, and Conor said he would, but Chris won't. And Piers again tries to make him look bad and says it's a noble sport about respect. And Chris answers perfectly.
I have to make an example. You know, there are kids that are going to watch this. They need to understand, if you get caught, you lose everything.
At every opportunity, when Chris gives an answer, Piers gives a counter-argument, like he's trying to make him look bad. This whole interview, the way Piers has handled it, the way Chris has basically been fighting two men, has made me even bigger fan of Chris. I respect him even more. I loved it when Chris said, I'm not here to be understood, I'm here to set an example. What a powerful statement. Piers Morgan is a very intelligent man, but at no stage was he able to get one over on Chris. Chris is so articulate and clever. Up to now, there's been 2 press conferences, and I said in my last video, it's 2-0 to Chris. Well now, it's 3-0. There's so much at stake in this fight, legacy. In every encounter, I get more and more excited. I can't wait. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments section and tell me when the pair finally meet, who do you want to win? And don't forget to like and subscribe and go and watch this video next.